You still have the feed?
Yeah.
But right now?
Yeah.
Well, the winter weather did delay but could not put off the inevitable. The Sterling Tournament and high school basketball has returned to this part of Kansas, and tonight the southeast of Saline Lady Trojans will look to open the bracket play in style as they get set to take on the Lady Lyons of Lyons, Kansas. Hello, everybody, and welcome in courtside. Tyler Henry, soon to be joined by Tyler Smith. So good to have you with us for another edition of Trojan, Lady Trojan basketball here on KINA, as again we get set for a matchup between the 5-2 Southeast of Saline girls team and 1-6 Lions for what should be a fun matchup to open one of the best, certainly one of the most competitive midseason tournaments across the state of Kansas. Coming up, we will have your keys to the game. We'll get you starting lineups, and we will get you back out here to Sterling High School just in time for the opening tip. Once again, it's Southeast of Saline and Lions, and you're catching it right here on KINA. Welcome back in here on the campus of Sterling High School. Tyler Henry joined now by Tyler Smith. It is the Countdown to Tip-Off show presented by L&L Advisors. The Southeast of Saline Lady Trojans checking in at 5-2, taking on the Lyons Lady Lions coming in at 1-6. And you know, here it's the late game. It's one of those situations, Tyler, you get into here in a bracket like this. If you're Southeast of Saline, you've got the 1 seed, you've got the clear path, but more importantly, you've already had a chance to see the way the rest of the bracket's gone down. This is the final game of the evening, and SES hoping to start this off with a big, heavy early note.
Yeah, it's been great that you kind of sit back, see how the flow of everything's gone. But I think one of those things, it's getting into a gym before you have to play, right? Like we talk about this huge break. I mean, it's been massive for every team in this tournament. I think sometimes you step into a gym and all of a sudden it's a competitive atmosphere. You're not used to that. But you see how the games are flowing. You're seeing the officials. It's the same crew that just worked the previous game. And this team's ready. We can talk about this tournament and we'll get more in depth, as the game progresses. But this is a big tournament. This is a huge, huge opportunity for Southeast Saline. They know what this tournament means. They've been on the doorsteps the last 2 or 3 years of taking a title home, and this is a huge opportunity for Shauna Smith's Lady Trojans.
Well, and it just seems, I had a chance with Devin Haney to cover this tournament. You've had a chance with Devin Haney to cover this tournament. Between the two of us, we've probably seen the last 8 tournaments here at Sterling, and there's always 1, maybe 2 juggernauts. There are always a couple of teams that are ranked inside the top 5, inside the top 10. Southeast of Saline has been one of those teams here recently, but you come in this year, you look at the 8 teams that are in this bracket, there's a lot of good talent on display, but there is not a single ranked team in any classification, and I can't remember the last time Southeast of Saline came in as the 1 seed, so there is still some excellent competition. We've already seen some great basketball played in this very gym today, but for Southeast of Saline, you feel like you're in a position, this could be the year, like you said, that you bring home some first place hardware.
That's definitely the goal, and that's the goal the last 2 or 3 years when you come into this tournament. It used to be whenever you have a midseason tournament, you just want to get better, you want to improve, but I think now 100% the goal is to walk away with this title. But you can look at early season records and kind of be influenced in the wrong direction. A Hugoton team came into this thing last year at 4-3 as the 3 seed. They rolled through the tournament, didn't lose. I think they might have had 1 loss to Goodland the rest of the season. Ended up in the 4A state tournament. Regardless of what you see records-wise, there will be a team historically. I want to say I've done the research. You look at the notes that the Sterling Invitational Tournament website puts out. You try to compare those up, the same stats that Keisha puts out. The last 6 or 7 years, there has been a team from this tournament that's gone on to their respective classes state tournament. I have a feeling there's going to be a team out of this, whether it's Southeast Saline, whether it's the Smoky Valley team that's extremely dangerous. Scott City at all times is dangerous. I don't care what records say. Hugoton, Sterling, the DNA, the winning that they've had in these programs in the years past, this tournament is still packed. Don't let records fool you of what's going to happen in the next 3 days.
Well, and it's not about teams, it's about programs, and I think that's the important thing. Southeast of Saline has built 2 excellent programs. You see that at Hugoton, you see that at Sterling, you see it with Kingman, across the board, and like you said, if you're Southeast of Saline, I can go all the way back to 2016, 2015. Southeast was playing in a midseason tournament against, and no offense to any of these teams, but Rural Vista and Hope White City and teams that, were always struggling, always had those, actual bad records coming in. Now you find yourself in a Sterling tournament where, it's a gauntlet and you've got a dogfight on your hands every single night. But if you're Southeast of Saline, if you're any of these teams and you're looking to get early playoff type atmosphere and playoff type experience, this is the place to do it. And for that reason, to back your point, that's why you see teams that come out of this tournament and do well also go on to do well in the Keisha playoffs.
Without a doubt, and I think a lot of it has to do with whenever you play midseason tournament, you have to get your team's tournament ready, right? You have to understand how coaches get the scouting report ready and how they give that information to their players, in short time. Normally if you're playing Tuesday, Friday, you have a day to prepare, you have a day to recover, a day to prepare. And now it's all of a sudden, there's no recovery. It's how do you prepare? It's a quick shoot around, quick walk around. And I think that's when you see these teams that have success in midseason tournaments, they extend that into the postseason. And that's coaches, they hate it and they love it, right? Like they hate the hours they have to put into this. But what they see as success, in the long term is great. And I think that's what Coach Shauna Smith, Coach Steve Reedy, Julie Lunt, they love getting their hands down and dirty with scouting reports and really giving those to the players and see how they can take that and be successful with it.
Before we have a chance to take a look at the starting lineups and kind of get into the makeup of these 2 teams, there is one elephant in the room that I feel like we have to address coming into this one, and it's just it's a circumstance that, it is what it is based on the weather and based on the way things have been here in north central Kansas. But if you're Southeast of Saline, you played a big game back on December 18th. You knocked off Sacred Heart 35-25. Well, that was on December 18th. This is January 18th. You've played 1 game in that 31-day span, and it came against the Minneapolis Lady Lyons back on January 5th. Rust is going to be a factor, I think, in this game for Southeast of Saline. We saw the boys team able to knock it off and get a big win earlier today. We'll check that later on our Bennington State Bank scoreboard. But how crucial do you feel the start is here in this game for this team?
Yeah, it's massive for everybody. We kind of talk about that, and we discussed that going into the Minneapolis game, because Minneapolis had played a game prior to that Sacred Heart game. So they had 2 games before that. The first 4 minutes are huge. It's that first wind, right? Like, the lungs are going to be filled up. You're going to feel hot. You're going to start sweating. You can't replicate that in a practice situation. But I think tonight's a unique situation. You played yourself into the 1 seed. You played yourself into a game where if you play your game, you should handle things. I think, if I'm right in saying this, you might see a little different defensive kind of aspect of the Southeast Saline Trojan team. I think we might see a little full court press. Put the pressure on Lyons early. Try to dictate the pace, try to dictate the tempo early on, and then you can kind of, if things are going your way, back people off. Again, you want to talk about getting the rust up. You still got 3 games in 3 days. Like, it's all about getting these players ready, but it's also about making sure they're ready on Saturday for, what you hope for the championship game.
Absolutely. Well, we'll have a chance to break down our new image audio keys to the game and get you starting lineups when we come back. But first, we will step away for a 2-minute break. Southeast of Saline Lady Trojan Hoops rolls on when we return, and you're listening to it right here on the L&L Advisors Countdown to Tip-Off here on KINA. Welcome back here on the campus of Sterling High School. Tyler Henry joined now by Tyler Smith as both teams getting set to take the floor. Starting lineup set to be announced, and let's go ahead and meet them now. And we will begin with the 8 seed, looking to pull off the unlikely upset here on the road at Sterling High School, and they will begin things with a 5'2" senior guard in Yuretsi Pena. Pena will be joined in the backcourt by a 5'2" sophomore guard in Diana Gonzalez, a 5'4" sophomore guard in Kiera Davis, and in the front court, it's a 5'5" sophomore forward Sierra Belote and a 5'7" junior in Peyton Cruz. Meanwhile, for Southeast of Saline, it's the same starting 5 we've come to know and love over the last couple of years, and certainly here this season. It's all anchored by the 3 big seniors who get the job done, and it all starts with a 5'4" senior guard in Brielle Potachik, averaging 7.7 points per game, a 3-point sharpshooter on the outside, 27% from downtown on the young season. She will be joined in the backcourt by a 5'6" senior guard in Maddie Harris, averaging 8.7 points per game and leading the team with 3.5 assists per contest, also knocking down shots at an efficient 36% clip on the year. Rounding out the backcourt is a 5'7" junior guard in Addison Rohr and a 5'7" sophomore guard in Abigail Pearson. And in the front court, it's a 5'7" senior forward in Lexi Jacobson, who leads the team, averaging 10.3 points, 8.6 6 rebounds per contest. And before we get too far into this one, before we get this ball into the air, Mr. Smith, your new image audio keys to the game here for this one.
Hey, tonight it's all about just being where your feet are, right? You can't look ahead. You've got to take care of the business that's ahead of you. Any Elvis fans out there, Tyler Henry, you might be too young for this, but we're going TCB, taking care of business, right? You got to understand each specific quarter, each specific game is its own task. Don't look ahead. Take care of the business that's ahead of you and see what happens at the end of 3 days of playing your own brand of basketball.
Lions will come out in the all-blue jerseys, white numerals trimmed in black. Meanwhile, for Southeast of Saline, it's the classic home whites, purple numerals, black trim. And we see now the 2 combatants in the jump circle. It will be Peyton Cruz here for the Lady Lions. And for Southeast of Saline, no surprises here. Lexi Jacobson steps inside the circle. We are just about ready to get this one underway as the ball is in the air. And the final game of the opening round here in Sterling is off to a roaring start as Southeast of Saline takes the opening tip. They'll control the first possession. Working the ball around the perimeter right now. Three-pointer flies from the corner. That's on the way for Brielle Potacek. It's off the mark, but the rebound pulled in, and the Trojans have it. They'll try to slip this underneath. Almost lost the basketball, and now will lose the basketball. An early turnover will give Lions a chance.
And we see immediately Lions comes out in an extended zone. I think that you're going to see a lot of zone from Lions, just understanding, they've got to shut down the outside game, Southeast Saline, so we're going to see how that rolls. For how Southeast can adjust to that.
Well, Southeast's early adjustment is to go to the full court press defensively, and they will force a turnover right out of the gates. And you get the feeling that might be an early way to create some pressure, but also to get some early runouts and get some momentum offensively.
Yeah, and that's something that hasn't been a lot on film from the Southeast team. They've played a lot of, they've gone to a zone, which is somewhat different from a Shauna Smith coach team, but you're going to see some full court press just to kind of speed Lions up if you can from the defensive side.
Skip pass through the lane, tipped away, but Southeast of Saline still controls, and now a blocking foul as, boy, there's an aggressive move driving inside the lane was Abigail Pearson, and she will go to the line for her trouble.
And that's something we've seen a lot from Abigail this year, taking the ball to the rack. Last year kind of fell in love with that outside shot. She fell in love with it a little bit early on in the season, but there's been a concerted effort to take the ball to the rack, and you're seeing she's just as strong, just a sophomore, but she takes it up. She makes that first one. But if you see that game from Abigail, it's going to let that outside game kind of come to her a little more easy.
Here gets the first free throw, 65% on this season. Tees up and fires away the second and gets them both. So a 2-for-2 trip at the line, and the Lady Trojans right back to the full court press, and the ball's going to be poked away but blocked from behind. Boy, it was a good look there for Lexi Jacobson, but now Lions with a chance, still trying to get the ball across midcourt for the first time, and they will not. Stolen away, Brielle Potacek up the floor, and a righty lay-in gives Southeast the 4-0 lead.
Yeah, and Brielle didn't know what to do with the ball, right? It was almost like a perfect bounce pass to her. She took a nice, easy layup.
Another turnover forced here. They finally got it across midcourt, but they have not possessed the ball in their offensive half. Here's a pump fake on the outside. Southeast of Saline will thread it underneath, and it's another lay-in here. This time around, it belongs to Lexi Jacobson. Lions still has not possessed the ball in their offensive half yet.
And it's right now, it's Lexi on the ball. Lexi's so athletic, so long, she can just cause so many problems for any Lions ball handler.
Ball is finally going to be taken across midcourt, and a foul's going to be called as Southeast of Saline got caught with the reach-in. But, yeah, I mean, any sense of Lions getting an opportunity to settle in has been disrupted here early. Southeast of Saline with an aggressive full-court press.
Yeah, and again, this is something you want to go on, and now you start working it. And if you can utilize this, you put it in your back pocket. If you're Southeast Saline, you can have some confidence with this full court press. You can go to it at any time, at any. That's a great thing about mid-season tournaments is as well. You can try new things out, give them a go, see how they work for you the rest of the season.
Here's a ball poked away right at the top of the key, and we have got our first jump ball. The arrow points Lions, so the Lions will keep it. Always gotten a kick out of that, Tyler. It's the Lions. I mean, it was right there for the taking, right?
They were just sitting around. They thought, this is what we're rolling with.
What is it? A short pitch meeting, I'm sure, as the ball's thrown in. A baseline inbound, and a quick lay-in will find the inside of the cup for Kiera Davis. That will get the Lions on the board. 6-2 our score. Southeast of Saline right back down the floor. And a lay-in for Lexi Jacobson, who's got 4 early points. Timeout called. It's a 30-second timeout. Lyons wants to take a moment and talk it over, and we will take a moment to remind you that coverage of tonight's game is brought to you by the SES Education Foundation, Kelly Kitchener Shetler Insurance, McKim Service, and Anesthesia Associates. Tyler Smith, it has been a really, I think a dream start for Kansas West, or for southeast of Saline. Boy, we're going to get caught with that a couple times tonight. SES, though, this is a kind of game that they love to play. This is one of the staples of a Shauna Smith team, and it's been played to a T here tonight.
Yeah, you want defense to lead to easy offense, and you're seeing that happen. Just like you said, it's a dream start. This is exactly what you want. You want that full court press just to cause absolute havoc for Lyons, and they're struggling with it right now. And it's creating those easy opportunities. But you also have to convert those easy opportunities. We talked about that rust. It looks like the easiest way to knock off that rust is to just create easy opportunities. You're converting them, and we now see all of a sudden they're dropping back into maybe a little half-court 1-3-1, which we've seen them more accustomed to. But again, Lex is at the top, so watch out.
Yep, Lady Trojans doesn't seem to matter. It's going to be poked and stolen away. You called for it. Lexi Jacobson up the floor. Her shot off the bottom of the backboard, but a whistle and a foul is going to send Lexi Jacobson back to the line. And it's another thing that she does such a good job of. Just take it aggressively to the inside, and if you don't get the points, you have a chance to earn them from the stripe.
Yeah, she's fast. She's got this look on her face when she goes to the rim. She's just so aggressive, and like you said, she's so strong when she goes up. She works the contact right there. Is able to get the shot up. Buries her first free throw, but that's something we've seen in Lexi's games. We've often talked about it. Her ability to now go off 1 foot. She used to be such a 2-foot jumper, and she'd go off and kind of disrupt her timing as she hits the second free throw. Now she can go off the right foot and the left foot. It's kind of expanded her offensive game in so many ways.
Well, and there are 2 ways that you can settle back in after a long break like what Southeast had. One is to get the transition lay-ins, but the other, just knock down a couple of nice, easy free throws, and that's already a thing. 4 attempts, 4 makes. Southeast of Saline making their hay at the line as Lyons will lob this all the way up the floor. That will find Kiera Davis, who had the first bucket. She won't get another here as the ball's poked away, and now here come the Lady Trojans on the run. Taking up the floor, a little no-look dish, and the shot attempt is going to be no good underneath. They're off the miss by Lexi Jacobson. Lyons working back the other way, but just not able to settle into any kind of consistent offense here early, struggling against Southeast's zone. Ball taken, top of the key here. Yuretsi Pena has it. She'll kick this back out to Davis. Davis has been the crucible they've tried to work through here early in this game as we've got 5:04 left to go. 10-2 is the Southeast lead, and we've got another jump ball. This time the arrow points Lady Trojans, and Southeast is going to force a 6th turnover here in the first 4 minutes.
And right there, it's the freshman Reagan Durant that's on the ball, kind of creates that loose ball opportunity, diving on. That's one thing, if there's a loose ball, Shauna Smith has convinced these girls, and these girls don't need any convincing, but those balls aren't 50-50 balls. They're 100-0 balls. They're Southeast balls anytime there's a loose ball on the floor.
Effort has nothing that's been in question with any of these teams here as of late. It's a staple of the program. Is a beautiful setup underneath, is going to send Sutton Douglas to the free throw line. That's what I'm talking about right there. Giving up a good shot for a great shot, working the ball around, shaking the defense loose, and then taking a good shot underneath.
And Sutton Douglas has come leaps and bounds. Her sophomore year has just been this great progression. She can provide so much value as she buries the first free throw. Let's not talk about these free throw shootings. Right now, 5 for 5 from the line, but we're not that important.
And no wood to knock on in sight, Tyler Smith.
There's not, but I'm
tempting fate here up in the broadcast booth.
Sutton can be such an influential. There we go.
That one's on you.
5 for 6, that's fine. But Sutton's just done a great job down low for Southeast so far this year.
No, you're absolutely right. Lions here will press, but they don't have numbers as Southeast of Saline had it covered up on the back end. So Pena back on the basketball, finds Kiera Davis. She'll float back out between the circles. Right now at the edge of the big Sterling Bear logo here at center court. Again, these games being played here at Sterling High School. The final round of games here in the opening round of the tournament. 3 games prior, earlier today in this building. 4:17 left to go. Ball dumped off to Maya Fierro underneath, and Fierro puts a foot on the baseline. And it's little unforced errors like that that you just can't give Southeast of Saline. You give them an inch, they'll take it a mile, and SES turns them over for a 7th time.
Yeah, and this is a rare time that we've seen Southeast Saline not be in a deficit in the height. You know, we've seen that they played monsters. The teams you see have had true post players. Lyons doesn't have a true post player. it's going to let Lexi kind of shake off some people and get more free.
Here's a great dump off underneath, count the bucket and the foul. Sutton Douglas with a power move underneath, drops the biscuit in the basket and goes to the line for the three-point play.
Yeah, great finish from Douglas. I mean, Douglas is so strong down there in the post. Great catch, great finish, over in the contact. She's getting a chance for the old-fashioned three-point play.
Well, and you love this. Southeast of Saline working in a couple of fresh faces here as they will make a 2-for-2 swap. Riel Patacic checks back into the ball game. Hattie Harris checks out here, as does Lexi Jacobson, and the three-point play free throw's no good, but there's an offensive board. Patacic off the floor, but onto the floor and onto the glass, kicks out for a three-pointer. That's an air ball, no good, and Lyons will let that roll out of bounds to take back possession. But this is something, Tyler Smith, that Southeast of Saline has had to deal with. You mentioned they're at a height deficit for the most part, but they've had a lot more want-to on the glass, and you have to when you're undersized.
Yeah, without a doubt, that was an emphasis coming into this season, was how are we going to rebound better? That's something we're losing a lot of. You know, you lose Avery Castleman, you lose Reagan Getz, you lose some of that rebounding prowess, but this team has just continued to fight, and that they've won the board battle in 5 games. That's why they're 5-2, right? They didn't win on those 2 games they lost, and that's a reason why they know.
Here's a dump off underneath, but missing the easy bunny was Maya Fierro. It's going to be ripped away underneath, and then a foul is called. So Southeast of Saline, that's Addison Rohr going up and taking it away, and a foul is going to be called. That's the second of the day on Maya Fierro.
And this is a common theme with Addison Rohr. She's always right place, right time. You just saw Addison right there on. You talk about post players. Addison Rohr is not a true post player. It's completely undersized. It rips the rebound away. It's the 5th team foul on Lyons. She's going to be rewarded with 2 free throws.
Yep, Southeast of Saline going to be in that bonus for the final 3:25 of the quarter, and a chance now to continue leaning away at the free throw line. First here is on its way. It's off the mark.
We're never discussing free throws again. I say that. I'll do it again tomorrow.
I mean, if you want to give the updated numbers, Southeast of Saline starts 5 for 5 from the charity stripe. Tyler Smith makes a comment about it, and since then, 0 for 3.
Yep, thank you.
4th free throw.
There you go.
You're off the hook.
Double jinx me.
Addison Rohr splits the try. Southeast still trying to force a turnover. Lyons will get the ball up the floor. This is Sierra Belote. She will kick it back out, but again, for Lyons, everything that they have gotten has been contested. Southeast of Saline continuing to just strangle them with this zone. Fighting through it on the other side. Sutton Douglas picks them up defensively, taken at the top of the key here, but again, for Lyons, not a lot of movement away from the basketball as they will try to drive to the inside, kick it out. Three-pointer flies. That's no good. Offensive rebound. Second chance opportunities up, no good off the miss for Kathleen Elliott, and Southeast pulls down the board. Almost had it ripped away, but Shauna Smith going to get the timeout off fast enough. It's another 30-second timeout, and with that, we will remind you that coverage of tonight's game is brought to you by Elite Sports Paintball, Appliance Center, Holm Automotive Center, and Stardust Trophy. Well, it's still been a great start for SES, 14-2. They have forced 7 turnovers, but Tyler Smith, the most impressive thing to me early on in this game, I don't think there has been a single uncontested take on the offensive end of the floor for Lyons tonight.
No, not at all. We just see the defense absolutely flying around, and all of a sudden you've seen 8 players from Southeast Saline. You know, you talk about how, yes, you want to get rust off. Yes, you got to get players ready. Part of getting players ready is making sure everybody's, you know, you've got to kind of figure out who's getting minutes here and there and understanding that. And what a great job just substituting. When players are coming in, they're flying around. Hence, not an easy shot for Lyons so far tonight.
Southeast back on the offensive end here. Again, 5 team fouls for Lyons, so they've got to be cautious not to give up even more free throw attempts here. And we've got an offensive foul on Southeast. Looks like away from the basketball. They are going to call that on Addison Rohr. For Rohr, it's her second, and that will prompt Shauna Smith to make a sub here as Sutton Douglas will check in and replace Rohr.
Yeah, and sometimes when you're in a zone and you're looking to set those screens, you're all of a sudden you're catching a defender maybe when your body's not ready and you're not ready. It looks like Addison Rohr right there just got caught in a bad position. It's called the offensive foul.
Ball is launched up the floor, deflected again. Southeast diving all over the floor. They'll come up with a steal. Now a baseball pass up the floor. They're going to save this back out to Patacic. Dishes underneath and a foul. Southeast of Saline creating chaos in transition, and free throws will be the reward for Sutton Douglas.
And Tyler, at some point I'll discuss the importance of being multi-sport athletes, but you just saw it right there. You saw Harris with the football pass, softball pass, whatever you want to call it, from one end of the court to the other. An amazing catch from Jacobson, goes to the top check, ball never hits the floor, into Douglas. Those seniors, just, they're all multi-sport athletes. They can do everything. What a great opportunity. That Sutton just buries one of the 2 free throws, but what a great play.
1 for 2 trip for Douglas makes it 15-2 southeast of Saline. They're going to get one poked away again on the sideline, but Lyons is able to break it. They do have the numbers. They will kick this out in the corner. Here's a head fake for Kiera Davis. She'll dump it off back at the top of the key, but they've given Southeast time now to settle into their half-court off defense. And now trying to shake it loose. They almost get a steal here as the ball's going to be kicked back in the corner. Davis will fire away and knock down the 3. And Kiera Davis has both makes for Lyons so far. She's got all 5 of their points.
Yeah, Davis has been impressive for Lyons. She also had a big block on Lexi Jacobson earlier. That's the spark plug right there. Davis is someone you got to make sure you just don't give open shots to.
1:45 left to go. Another great pass, and this time the feed goes underneath. It finds Sutton Douglas, and it's another lay-in here for her. Douglas has got 6 points already for southeast of Saline. They lead 17-5, and a blocking foul going to be called on the other side. It seems like Lyons understands the urgency not only of breaking the press, but it seems like they want to get looks before SES has a chance to settle into that zone.
I think that's what you kind of got to do, right? If you can't go athlete versus athlete, against the southeast Saline defense, so they're trying to get numbers and go, but right now they're not having very much success doing it.
Lyons looking to inbound this with Peyton Krause. It's immediately stolen away by southeast of Saline, and the Lady Trojans back up the floor. Two-handed pass, 2-on-1, and a lay-in for Sutton Douglas. She's got 8 points already. The Lady Trojans lead 19-5, and it's going to be stolen away again, but this time around, Maddie Harris with a foot on the sideline will give it back to Lyons.
And Tyler, I unofficially have Lexi with all 3 assists on Sutton's 3 made field goals. I'm just a great high-low game between those 2 right now.
Yep, it's been excellent. Ball's going to be poked away again. Southeast diving on the floor, and they are going to force the takeaway. That time, courtesy of Lexi Jacobson, but it's 1 through 5. The effort comes from everybody, and you feel like maybe the seniors started it, but it's been infectious throughout the ranks.
Without a doubt, right there, there's a 50-50 ball. There's no reason in a 14-point game in the first quarter that your top scorer, arguably your best player is diving, but she is. That happens, and all of a sudden everybody sees that. That's a program thing right there. Great job from Lexi.
5 different Lady Trojans have already scored. By the way, Sutton Douglas, 8 points already in this game. Believe if my stat sheet that I'm looking at is right, her season high was 4.
And that's good. I'm assuming that's her career high. We'll have to go to Elias for the official statistics, but just a great start for Sutton.
Turnaround jumper inside the keyhole, no good, but there's Douglas diving up, getting the rebound, and then forcing the jump ball. It will point Lyons, but that gives Southeast the arrow back, and it's stealing possessions like that gives this team an opportunity to really pour it on in games like this. But in tight games, those are even more important possessions.
Without a doubt. And again, you're seeing it's just like at some point you're going to continue to run this press because Lyons is not figuring out how to get that ball in the middle and how to break this press. They continue to go to the sideline. You can't throw the ball to Maddie Harris. If Maddie Harris had the opportunity to play football, she would have been a great defensive back. She just reads the game so well. She reads the eyes. You see another turnover from Lyons. That's not the player I'm trying to bring the ball up the court. I'm trying to go the other way. I'm trying to get the ball away from Maddie Harris if I'm Lyons right now.
Lyons throws it away for what, according to my unofficial stats, is their 11th turnover of the game. We're still working our way through the final 30 seconds of the opening quarter. Southeast of Saline leads it big, 19-5. Great high-low game. They'll get it back underneath. This is Douglas again, and Sutton Douglas. How about a 10-point outburst in the first quarter? Baseball pass going to be thrown back up the floor on the other end. Almost lost. Sierra Velote able to keep it, but final 12 seconds here. Ball back in the hands of Kiera Davis's hand. You wonder if she'll be the one to take the final shot. She passes it up here. This is Deona Gonzalez. Time winding down. Gonzalez has it poked away. Time down to 3, down to 1. Whatever that was, we'll call it a heave. It's nowhere near the mark, and it brings us to the end of quarter number 1. Southeast of Saline comes out on fire, and they lead the way 21-5. Back with quarter number 2 when we return. You're listening to SES Lady Trojan Hoops here on KINA.
That's Lexi's on her way to a triple double. Yeah, to get some boards. Any good for a team that averages 43? Yes, there you go. Absolutely over at the first and at halftime. The first and third touches on top of the Bishop Carroll Eagles 31-26. Breaks the mission with 24 points from
Back here on the campus of Sterling High School, Tyler Henry alongside Tyler Smith, southeast of Saline, forcing the issue right out of the gate. They lead 21-5, and now Lyons is going to get out on the run here. It's the first time we've seen them try to press the tempo, but they're going to be shut down quickly. Southeast of Saline settles back into their defensive set, and the Lady Lions will have to kick this back out and into the hands of Dayona Gonzalez. Gonzalez finds Davis in between the circles, and while we have a little break here as they try to run through some offense, any adjustments you're looking to see Lions make here? And we'll get that in a moment. Ball poked away here. Southeast of Saline back up the floor, and it's a transition lay-in. Count the bucket and one. Abigail Pearson has the first bucket of the second quarter, and Southeast leads 23-5.
Yeah, a great job from Abigail at the top. Just goes, again, we always see Abigail. Abigail's always on the floor. Whether, she's put there, she does it herself, but right there, great defensive play, goes up for the layup, a lot of contact after the shot. I think they might say the foul was after the shot. They're going to keep the ball with Southeast Saline. So, yes.
Wow.
So the bucket's good.
Yeah, and honestly, taking an extra possession, that's almost worth more than a free throw. Explanation being rendered to Coach Smith right now, and Southeast of Saline will inbound this under their own basket.
Yeah, without a doubt. This is more advantageous for Southeast than the end one opportunity.
Here's a dump off underneath. How about the find as Lexi Jacobson able to lay it in off of a sweet feed, and now a blocking foul going to go against Southeast on the other side, but and Southeast of Saline, savvy passing here in this contest.
So in games like this, right, like when things kind of get out of hand, you start looking for your shot a little bit more often. This is what, again, Maddie Harris continues to do. She plays a different role every single season. We're seeing her as a true point guard. She doesn't care about numbers, she doesn't care about statistics, she doesn't care about buckets. She cares about W's, and she is running this whole offense right now.
Here's a chance for Southeast to take it over again, and they will. Ball sticks in the hands of Maddie Harris. She'll run the floor. Cross-court pass all the way up the floor. It's going to lead to a miss, but getting her own rebound off that miss is Lexi Jacobson. Southeast of Saline swings the ball around, stepping in for a long two. Runner no good, but the stick back will result in another foul and more free throws coming. And I'll tell you what, Southeast of Saline, regardless of what everybody else was doing here, they're playing like the one seed tonight.
They really are. They're coming out like, you wonder how much, how important that Minneapolis game was. Like, if you don't get that game played, and that took some administrative, because there were a lot of games canceled that night. That game got played. It was a huge win for Southeast, and I think that's propelling them in, and we're seeing, as Lexi hits that first one, you're seeing the importance of getting that game in, regardless of how long ago it was, just the confidence they're playing with. As you see Patacic come in and give Maddie Harris a rare break.
Well, and more importantly, you feel like if you can come away with a confident win, if they keep rolling like this for the rest of this 40 minutes, or 32 minutes, you're going to have a chance to, really roll in as the second free throw is no good into the second and hopefully third round with that same level of momentum. You want to be feeling good coming out of this one.
Yeah, without a doubt. The more people you get in, the more people you get feeling good. That's just going to lead to the better things. You don't know how many players you're going to have to rely on as these games start coming in here really quickly, not only this week, but next week as well.
Lady Trojans gamble on a steal. Ball's back in the hands of Gonzalez. She'll float back into the short corner. Working on the basketball now, dumps it off down low. This is Fierro in a double team and throws away the basketball. And with all the havoc that Southeast of Saline has caused, Lyons not doing themselves any favors. But at a certain point, Lyons just looks outclassed. And I don't mean anything negative by that, but you just look at what's on display right now. Southeast of Saline coming out and really feeling it, having a good night themselves, but just one of those kinds of 8-1 matchups early in a tournament.
Yeah, there you go. Sutton, another one. Oh, Sutton misses a bunny.
Gets her own rebound. Second chance opportunity, though, is Southeast of Saline will lay it in once again. This time it's Addison Rohr, and that's the other thing that's impressed me here. SAS, they have had 6 different players already score.
And you're just seeing them crash the board so hard. There's so many second chance opportunities, and you're limiting opportunities on the other side, and that's what leads to these runouts.
28-5 our score. Lady Trojans in the driver's seat. Another steal, working the ball back up the floor. Brielle Patacic on the run. Righty layup is in. Make it 30-5.
And again, right there, Brielle's got 2 easy buckets, but she's been in the right spot defensively. She's got the ball in stride on both those, converting the layups for Southeast of Saline.
Lady Trojans by 25. We've still got 5:25 to go here in the opening half. Lyons looking to settle back in. So far, they have gotten just the 5 points. They've all come from Kiera Davis, and they would have thrown it away once again, but a foul's going to be called as they will whistle Sarah Feldman for her first.
Yeah, it looked like Feldman right there was just keeping a body on the Lions lion right there, and the ball just kind of went overhead. It looked like it was contact. Good call from the officials, but if that call's not made, there's another run out for Southeast.
Well, and if you're Lions, this is a matchup that we could be seeing an awful lot more of in the future, as this is a program that is going to be joining the NCAA. So it's not going to get much easier from here across the board, but a preview of a future league school here for Southeast of Saline. Again, 30-5 our score. Lions back on the basketball. They've got it with Gonzalez on the outside. Now back in the hands of Maya Fierro. Fierro cuts back to the interior. Lions has been able to work around the perimeter, but every time they've tried to drive, Southeast has doubled and shut them down. They have not gotten anything easy on the inside. 4:44 left to go. Lions still working through offense here, but again, just not finding anything in terms of open looks. They will try to dump it off on a backdoor screen. It's going to be taken away. Brielle Potacik is on the floor, and it's a jump ball. The arrow points Lions, but Southeast of Saline, at the very least, is going to get a tie-up every time.
Yeah, just start counting players, right? 2 Trojans, 1 Lion. Every time there's a loose ball, there's more Trojans on that loose ball than there is Lions. And again, you start doing that, you're going to win more loose balls than the other team.
This is a team with a high motor, and it only has 1 gear, and it's a high gear. Ball thrown in, back at the top. Liliana Miranda will take a touch. She'll hand it off. Air ball on a 3-pointer, and the offensive rebound is going to be caught on the baseline. Actually, it's going to be out of bounds. They say last touch by Southeast. So, Lions will have another baseline inbound, and they've had the ball down here for a good minute and a half. Still looking for their first shot attempt here, aside from the air ball 3.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of switch. Southeast switching a lot of screens right there. Just another tough inbounds play, deflected off Lions going to Southeast.
Yep, SCS forces another turnover. It's getting hard to keep up with them. I have them unofficially with 16, but could have missed a few here early on. Southeast of Saline got off to I wouldn't necessarily call it a rough start. First game of the year is always a little bit weird, but since dropping their opening game, they have won 5 of their last 6. Here's a 3-pointer from the short corner. That's no good, but another offensive board is going to lead to a putback, this time for Addison Rohr, who has come out here. She's got 6 points.
Taylor, if I can count this correctly, I think that we've only seen 2 or 3 3-pointers from Southeast Saline. That's something I've seen less of from these teams. I mean, they're starting to take the ball to the back bucket a lot more. You see Potacik drive all the way in. And again, you're seeing more success. We saw that it start with Sacred Heart and just continue to go on.
Brielle Potacik, they parted the Red Sea for her. Timeout's going to be taken. Lady Lions want to talk it over. We'll take the full timeout as well. Back with more SES Lady Hoops when we return right here on KINA.
They're probably on here, right? I think. Yep. Potentially. Too good. Yes. The name. I mean, it's only been in right. Most of them don't look hard. I know this is gonna. Yeah. I don't. This is the one I'm worried about. I'm not the usual guy. I have an excuse. Now, if Devin doesn't know it, I don't think she's going to do it. Yeah, you just put all text down. Middle of the game. It's cold out there.
Welcome back into a 34-5 Southeast of Saline lead here in the opening round of the Sterling Tournament. SES up big on the Lady Lions of Lyons. Tyler Henry and Tyler Smith alongside you. Olivia Bergmeyer on camera duty tonight. Big Sam Pretty producing and engineering back in Studio Central. So glad to have you with us here on a Thursday evening in a Sterling Tournament that has now been compressed into 3 days as Lyons works the ball into the corner. And That's another thing that could have an impact is Southeast again diving on the floor. This time they're going to take it away. If they look up the floor, they had a runner out, and now they'll slow the pace down just a bit. Kick this back out. Three-pointer flies from the outside, and it's splashed home. A big-time triple. It's Carly Zerflew who's got the tray.
Here's what I love the most is when you see people get big buckets. I don't have Carly for a point this year.
No, that is her
first varsity bucket right there. And you see the bench explode. They know that's awesome.
Huge bucket for the 5'2" freshman. Southeast of Saline mixing new players in, but the production has not gone down as we've got a whistle and a foul on the other end. And I think it would be an opportune time here to set your 5 on the floor. Carly Zerflew is out there with Sarah Feldman, Sutton Douglas. Actually, no, quick correction. Reagan Duran, Lexi Jacobson, and your 5th player. Get in just a moment. As the first free throw is good, Addison Rourke is your 5th on the floor. Emily Garcia, or actually Maya Fierro, makes the first free throw here. Another coming.
It's usually way easier to tell who's in the game, right?
Yep.
Not as many substitutions, but Southeast, they're coming in waves, and they're all doing a great job producing when they get on the court.
Second free throw, up and out, no good. Southeast again runs down the rebound in the corner. And we have got...
Looks like Feldman stepped out.
Okay. Yep, got trapped in the corner there and may have stepped just a bit to the side as some of the fans have cleared out of the gym here. Obviously, the first 3 games of the day already concluded. We'll be sure to get you updates on the previous scores at the Sterling Tournament on our Bennington State Bank scoreboard as Lyons returns the favor. They will throw the ball out of bounds, trying to get it to Gonzalez underneath. But the one thing you gotta love too about Southeast of Saline, it is freezing outside. Nobody likes these conditions. Southeast fans have still traveled here to support their Lady Trojans.
They definitely travel. I mean, the guys' game included, you've seen some of that crowd come here this way. Like the crowd of Southeast will always travel.
Lyons here gonna steal the basketball away. They'll work it back up the floor with Kiera Davis. Again, she has 5 of the 6 Lyons points. But Southeast knows she's the main scoring threat. They are not giving her an inch to breathe. Ball back in the hands of Gonzalez once again. She'll give it up top of the key as SES looks to make a hockey line change. It'll be a 3-for-3 swap. A little contact underneath, no whistle, but Lyons going to throw the ball away once again, and that will give Southeast a chance to bring Abigail Pearson, Maddie Harris, and Brielle Potachik back into the game.
And as Zerflew comes out of the game, Harris goes in, and you can just tell Harris just gives her a little ornery or like, way to go, kid. Like that. I mean, again, that's Maddie Harris's leadership right there. She knows how big that bucket was for Zerflew. She's the first to congratulate her. Want to be the first to tell her great job.
Like you said, first bucket of her varsity career, and it was a silky smooth 3-pointer from downtown. Here's a shot that's off the mark. Rebound is going to be pulled in here, and quickly up the floor comes Pena of Lyons. And Southeast, boy, not giving up on that. And like you mentioned before, it's not that SES wants to run the score up. This is the only gear this team knows how to play with. They're leading by 31, and they're still diving on the floor for every ball.
Abigail Pearson is 10 feet away from the ball and just lays out. But you can't take that away from Abby. That's just how she plays everything. And it's awesome to have her wearing the purple and white.
Lexi Jacobson will take a seat, and just as quickly as she checked out, Carly Zerflew is back in as we have got, wow, a 3-pointer off the top of the backboard, and then off the basket support, that's a turnover.
And that's one of the things, if you're Lions right now, any open shot that you have the opportunity to take, you're taking it immediately. You don't know how long that shot's going to be open for. And you saw right there that we saw Kiera Davis she put the 3-pointer up from the baseline. Really tough shot. She had a lot more time than I thought she had, but she rushed it. Shot didn't end up the way she wanted it.
1:31 remaining here in the second quarter. Southeast of Saline leads it big, again 37-6. As the ball comes back in, Zerflew tried to slice to the inside, but got it a little too far out in front of her. And here comes Kiera Davis back the other way for Lyons. They will swing this ball onto the left wing. That's Gonzalez, now back in the hands, top of the key of Fierro. Still trying to shake loose this zone defense for Southeast of Saline. Again, nothing's come easy for Lyons. Part of the reason they've only gotten 2 made field goals from the floor. The 6th point came at the free throw line. And that's another thing I would expect that maybe they would shift, and maybe they'll do a little bit more of it in the second half, but May expect them to try to get a little more aggressive, just going to the rack and trying to get to the line. Here is a drive and a lay-in on the inside for Maya Fierro.
Yeah, really nice first step from Fierro. She got herself in a great position, great finish from Fierro.
Southeast, though, going to slice through the inside. Zerflu came down with the rebound. Actually, that's Abigail Pearson, and she will be fouled underneath. So headed to the free throw line is Abigail Pearson, 4 points for her already. And that will be the second foul of the day on Yuretsi Pena.
Yeah, initial drive from Harris looks like maybe a lot of contact, and if the game's a little bit different flow, maybe there's going to be a foul called there. Harris absorbs the contact, misses the layup, but Abigail's there with the offensive rebound.
First free throw up and out, but another one coming here. And Abigail Pearson drills the second. Gives Southeast their biggest lead of the night. It is a 30-point advantage for the Lady Trojans, 38-8, as we are inside the final 30 seconds of the opening half. Ball comes back around to Pena, back to the top of the key. This is Davis, now into the high post. That's Fierro, hands it back out. Shot's going to be up and blocked, but it does come back down to a blue jersey, and a chance now for Lyons to reset for the final 15 seconds if they don't throw it away, which they do.
And we continue to see Southeast in this zone. I think there's always two types of zones that you see, especially at the high school level. You see kind of the zone so your offensive players can rest, or you see this aggressive zone. And it's always an aggressive zone from Southeast to Saline where they're looking to create turnovers.
Final possession here for the Lady Trojans in the opening half. They get the ball top of the key, back to Brielle Potacek. Time down to 4, now down to 3. Skip pass over the top. Potacek 3 at the buzzer. In and out, no good. And that will bring us to the intermission. But the Lady Trojans are rolling here in the opening round of the Sterling Tournament. They lead Lyons 38-8 at the intermission. We will step away, but when we come back, it's the Knopf Auto and Truck Accessories halftime report. You are listening to Lady Trojan basketball right here on KINA. Welcome back in here on the campus of Sterling High School. Tyler Henry alongside Tyler Smith, and Southeast of Saline is rolling here early. The 1 seed playing like it, up 38-8 as we head here to the halftime intermission. And let's go ahead and take a look at some halftime stats. Again, the Knopf Auto and Truck Accessories halftime report here. Southeast of Saline has done an excellent job. They have spread their scoring out amidst 6 different players. And really quickly, before we get into who's got what, 3 points off of a three-pointer for Carly Zerflew, the first bucket of her varsity career. What a great moment to see for the freshman out there for Southeast.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, we can all remember our first varsity bucket, or you can't, because I never had one.
Same.
But it's one of those moments that this will be something, especially for the freshman. The freshman that has, the coaches have high expectations for her, and I know Carly does as well for herself. You're always going to remember hitting that first bucket in this tournament.
Taking a look at the scoring, it has been the Sutton Douglas show, and that's been kind of the other piece of this that I think has gone a little bit understated. She came into this game not a massive point producer overall, averaging just a shade under 2 points per game. Her career high was a 4-point performance back at Sacred Heart. That came earlier this year. But you look at what she did, 10 points in the first quarter alone, and she still leads all scorers with 10 points here at the halftime break.
Yeah, and all of her shots were within 2 or 3 feet. You know, I want to say every single one of her field goals was from an assist from Lexi Jacobson on that little high-low game. You just kind of find your niche, you find your home, you find your spot that you can bury those shots. Those two were so in sync in the first quarter. You saw that Lyons paid a little bit more attention to her in the second quarter, which opened up the floor for the other girls. But again, that's one of those things. You start putting this stuff on film, you start seeing this game. Now you have, you know, who you're playing tomorrow. They're starting to look at this. You've got who's Sutton Douglas all of a sudden. Now we got to worry about that. It's going to open up the court. It's things like that play in the tournament aspect of these games that makes it so much fun to just watch players thrive.
Well, and normally in this tournament, you have a couple of days to try to talk it over, to look at things. Normally Wednesday is a day where nobody plays at this tournament, but now you've got a quick turnaround. You got 1 day to prepare for your next opponent. That'll make things a little bit more interesting. But going back to this, taking a look at halftime stats, 10 points for Sutton Douglas, 9 points for Lexi Jacobson, 6 for both Brielle Potachik and for Addison Rohr, 5 points so far for Abigail Pearson, and that big 3 for Carly Zerflew. Meanwhile, for Lyons, a little bit easier to sort out. Again, held to just 8 points in the opening half. 5 of them came from Kiera Davis. All of those came back in the first quarter. And then in the second quarter, it was Maya Fierro who's got 3 points. Again, all of those coming in quarter number 2. So for Southeast of Saline, they've done a good job when they've been in the half court. They've done a good job in transition, and they have got a 30-point lead at the intermission. We'll step away for another 2-minute break, but when we come back, we'll take a look at the other games that took place earlier today here at the Sterling Invitational and get you a look at what you can expect tomorrow back here on KINA and the Salina Post. But for now, we will step away. Once again, coverage of tonight's game brought to you by our friends at Salina Medical Aesthetics, and you're listening to Southeast of Saline Women's Hoops here on KINA. Back here at the halftime break, the halftime show brought to you by Knopf Auto and Truck Accessories. And let's take a look now at our Bennington State Bank scoreboard as we take a look at other scores that took place earlier today in the Sterling Tournament. We begin here on the girls' side, where Scott City knocked off Kingman 60-37. And Smoky Valley defeated Hutch Trinity 44-26. So that sets up a matchup tomorrow between Smoky Valley and Scott City. The one for Southeast of Saline to be aware of was between Hugoton and Sterling, two teams that normally sit near the top of this bracket. It feels like one or the other has been the one seed of this tournament quite a bit over the years, but it was a battle. Hugoton got out a little bit slow. Sterling led by as many as 18 points, but the Lady Eagles able to make a big push, come back, and make it a contest. Sterling, though, able to pull away. They win narrowly, 43-40, and will await likely Southeast of Saline, but still TBD, the winner of this game on the other side tomorrow. That game, Tyler Smith, as you mentioned before, set for 4:30. Meanwhile, on the boys' side, Southeast of Saline got a big-time win. They blew Lyons out of the water on that end as well. 54-26 was your final in that game, and they still await the winner of the final game in play right now over at Sterling College. That sees the one-seeded Sterling Black Bears taking on Smoky Valley. The other two games, Hugoton knocks off Hutch Trinity 62-42, and Scott City defeats Kingman 65-47. Here, Southeast of Saline's Lady Trojans lead the way 38-8 over Lyons. And before we get into the second half here, which SES will control the basketball, Tyler Smith, any adjustments that you're looking to see either of these two teams make to try to make some shifts here on the other side?
Well, not at all. And I think from the Southeast perspective, of course not. You want to keep going. You want to keep running. And, I think a lot of times, we've already alluded to that you see a turnover from Southeast Saline. We talk about saving legs, but only people that talk about saving legs are old guys like me and you, right? Like, we forget that these are kids. Like, this is what they do. They play this way in the summer. They play multiple games. They can play 3 games in 3 days. Just get out and go play Southeast Saline basketball.
Well, and as you said, a lot of these kids, multi-sport athletes as well. You'll see them pop up again in softball season during the spring. A lot of them played volleyball during the fall, and plenty of summer action as well. Here, Southeast of Saline's going to come away with a steal. They will throw this ball up the floor. Potacek threads it up, and it's a lay-in on the other end for Lexi Jacobson.
And there's Jacobson's 11. How quiet have those 11 points been? We've talked about her dish in the basketball. Lexi kind of exploded onto the scene her sophomore year here. She was all tournament team last year, averaging 18 a game. This tournament, this is again, you can't scout Lexi because she just does so many athletic things.
Here's a long three-pointer. That's no good. And a foul on the rebound attempt there as you saw Abigail Pearson launch herself at the basketball. And will salvage the possession. In addition to that, Yaretsi Pena just picked up her third foul.
And a super smart foul. I don't know if Pena knew this when she was going down, but yeah, Lexi was getting ready to go and just had a breakaway dunk available to her. But, good foul right there. Now you're going to put Southeast Saline in the half-court offense.
Lady Trojans back into the keyhole. Ball's going to be poked away, but SES will keep it. And if this continues, likely on pace for a fourth quarter of running clock here, but for now continues stopping and starting with 6:48 remaining in the third quarter. And SES still leading the way big, 40-8. Gambling for a steal, not going to get it. Ball kicked out here to Brielle Potacek, but again, her shot selection has been so good throughout the course of her career. She's not going to take anything with a hand in her face unless she absolutely has to.
Yeah, and you see the Lions players just flying here. You can't give Brielle a wide open look. You see another great dish from Jacobson.
And it's a high-low entry to set up Addison Rohr. That may be a candidate there for our Everhart Precision Agriculture precision pass of the game. That high-low post action's been so good tonight.
It hasn't. We saw them have so much success against Minneapolis in their zone. And I think you're going to see that. If you're going to zone up this team, you're now seeing how they can start being more comfortable. See a big-time shot right there from Diana Gonzalez.
Yep, Diana Gonzalez knocks down the second tray of the day, and a quick steal here for Lyons. And now the Lions are on the run as they will get a tough take underneath. Boy, I think Kiera Davis probably didn't need to rush that shot as much as she did, but off the miss, Southeast pulls it down, and now they're looking to go the other way. Ball's going to be poked away, rolls along the baseline. SES controls here in the corner. They will fire this back out, but Potacek a three. That's off the mark, and the rebound is hauled in by SES. Another white jersey, and a whistle and a foul going to be called on Peyton Cruz.
And again, love it right there from Abba. She catches the ball in a very advantageous spot. She has that power dribble, a little fake with the head right there, goes up strong, gets herself to the free throw line.
So more opportunities coming at the stripe tonight for SES. They've made a living here at the free throw line. And the first one here sits on the front of the rim and elects to go down for Abigail Pearson. Maybe the strangest thing about this game so far is for Southeast, they've spread it out. They've had 6 different players in scoring. It's come from everywhere, but still no buckets for Maddie Harris. She's been great as a distributor. As another jump ball will give the ball back to Lyons here, but that's usually one of your top scorers right there.
Yeah, it is. And if you're a football fan, if you're a Chiefs fan, you can kind of compare this season that Maddie Harris is having to a Patrick Mahomes type season. Like, you can discuss the numbers all you want, discuss if she's having a better year or worse year. This is the best year I've seen Maddie Harris play because she's just understanding the entire game. I mean, she's doing so many different aspects. She's creating things. She's not forcing anything. The points aren't there, but it's not because she's not trying. She's just distributing the ball so well.
Yeah, she's been balling out in her own way, and again, setting up open teammates, forcing turnovers, playing good defense. They're all parts of the game that maybe they don't come up and look as flashy in the stat sheet, but like you said, so many of these players, they don't care about individual stats or accolades or awards. They care about the win column, and Southeast has looked awfully good there at 5-2. Here they will miss a shot underneath. The rebound is hauled in by Peyton Cruz, and Lyons wants to push the tempo here. Seems Southeast, rightfully so at this point in the game, has backed off the full court press, just going to get back and settle into their zone here.
And here's where you want to see you want to play solid man-to-man defense. You don't want to go for steals. You don't want to try to get easy breakaways. You really want to force Lyons to long possessions and really try to work the ball. And you see really good defense from Maddie Harris.
Yep, forcing the ball out of bounds. Deanna Gonzalez couldn't control, but they will keep it here as Southeast of Saline will look to make another set of subs. Sutton Douglas and Reagan Durant check into the ball game. And Brielle Potacek and Addison Rohr will check out in their stead. Ball's thrown in once again. This finds Cruz. She has it top of the key. 4:41 left to go. Drives inside the paint, puts up a tough righty lay-in, and gets it to go.
Yeah, really, really strong step through for Cruz. Great finish.
Southeast now back on the offensive. They'll fire a skip pass out. That'll tee up a three-pointer on the way. It's off the mark and out of bounds. Lions ball.
You see it right there. It looks like Coach Smith not extremely happy with the shot selection. Looks like Abbott got it. She got her feet set. Looked like a good shot. Looks like she got it in rhythm. But want to work the ball around a little bit more. Make Lions work on the defensive side right now.
Yeah, Pearson, I believe, hit the first three-pointer of her season, but since then's got a little bit cold here from beyond the arc. Southeast settling back in on the offensive end. Ball's going to be slapped away, but it finds the hands of Gonzalez, who will stop and reset. Almost throw it away. Boy, Lions fortunate to keep the ball here, and it's going to result in a bucket for Yoretzi Pena. This is the most life we've seen out of Lions offensively. They put a couple of things together here, and now they're going to gamble and take a steal. Lions back up the floor. They've got numbers. A behind-the-back dribble, a transition lay-in is good for Kiera Davis. And all of a sudden, the Lady Lions have life.
And here's the danger when you're playing a game like this, right? Like, especially from a coach's standpoint. Like, you want everything to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. There's going to be runs that are going to happen just naturally in the game of basketball. So just settle down if you're Southeast. Get the ball in the bucket.
Long two flies. No, they'll call it a three. Banged home on the outside. It's another big-time bucket. This time it's Reagan Durant.
It's another freshman burying a three right there. We see Reagan Durant, the motor. We talked about the motor of Lexi Jacobson. Reagan Durant's got a very similar motor. State champion, cross-country runner on that state championship team. That motor doesn't stop from the freshman.
Here's a three-pointer from the short corner. That's off the mark, and the rebound pulled in here. And I'd be interested to get your thoughts as Southeast does salvage that on the near side. But it seems that ever since that run here, SES has picked up their intensity a bit defensively. They're back to, I think, giving it their all. As a slip screen underneath results in an easy lay-in. Lexi Jacobson with another bucket, but how about the vision to set that up?
Yeah, Abigail's so great with her hands when she gets in the lane. She's so used to defenders just all of a sudden sprinting at her. She had a defender come at her, found Lexi wide open for the layup.
And here Lyons gonna put this on the baseline. It's out of bounds. So 48-17 is our score. And the Lady Trojans with the basketball here. 2:27 to play, third quarter. Couple of subs made here for the Lady Trojans. Brielle Potacek back on the floor. She'll swing this onto the wing, back into the waiting hands of Sarah Feldman. Gets it back at the top. Those two playing a game of catch inside the circles. Now a cross-court pass. Finds the wing, a drive, a dish, and a lay-in. And it's a great bucket. This time it comes courtesy of Reagan Durant. She's got back-to-back buckets.
And here's the issue again. You start building these young kids' confidence, and watch out for these Lady Trojans.
Well, and depth is something that they could use more of. Even if you just get 1 or 2 that you feel comfortable seeing more varsity minutes, that's a huge boon to a team that really plays 7 deep right now.
Yeah, we've only seen them go 7 deep for the majority of their early season schedule. Great finish right there from Sierra Belote.
That's a huge bucket and a smothered reverse layup underneath. It's a big-time bucket like you mentioned. Southeast, though, going to get another open three-pointer. This one's off the mark. And it's out of bounds. Last touch by Southeast with 1:30 to go in quarter number 3.
A little bit of a heat check from Durant. I mean, she's feeling it. She wants to get another one up. I don't think that's a shot you're disappointed with at all. You're 2 for your last 2.
Well,
I'm putting that thing up as well.
Absolutely, and when it's wide open, you might as well take it. It's a bad shot if you or I take it. It's a great
100%.
shot. It's a great shot for Reagan Durant. Ball back on the other end in the hands of Fierro. Tries to dribble this out. Three-pointer flies from the short corner. And that goes down for Liliana Miranda. So not only has Lyons figured it out offensively, they have had 6 different players score in this quarter alone. Southeast going to go right back to the well inside. That's no good. Shot off the mark for Sutton Douglas. Lyons wants to push the tempo. We're inside the final minute of quarter number 3. Lyons will swing the ball back into the left wing here. Trying to dump this off underneath. They find Belote. Belote wants to go up. Draws the contact, count the bucket, and the foul.
And you saw right there, Belote just gets the ball down low. Kind of beats Feldman on that baseline side, going to the bucket. Gets fouled by Potacek at the free throw line for an and one opportunity.
I will say, I am impressed with the fight as we've got a 30-second timeout. The fight we've seen out of this Lions team, it would have been so easy for them to hang their heads. They went down 38-8 at halftime, but they've come out with a competitive fire you just don't expect to see from a team that gets down that big early.
Especially in this 8-1 game, right? Like, you're looking at things and, you have to draw different kind of, forms of inspiration when you're in the locker room. Whatever they've come across, they've done a great job, and you're building, right? It's all about building blocks. You're building for tomorrow night. Right now you're seeing, high fives going around the Lions. They want to keep this intensity up for the rest of the game.
Well, we've got a break in the action. I want to take this moment to remind you that coverage of tonight's game is brought to you by our friends at the Bank of Tesket, APAC Shears, Salina Regional Orthopedic and Sports Medicine, and by Kansas Wesleyan University. K-Dub's got a big one coming up this Saturday, and they will take on Oklahoma Wesleyan. Coverage begins on KINA locally at 5:30 p.m. Tip-off of the women's game will get us started at 6 o'clock. And with that shameless plug out of the way, Lyons will knock down the free throw from Sierra Belote.
Not a shameless plug at all. That's a great thing. You can follow along with everything. SalinaPost.com.
Ball poked away. Southeast keeps it, although an aggressive try to get that all the way through the lane. Going to be stolen. And now Southeast of Saline still trying to dive around and keep that ball in play. But it will stay with Lyons here, as SES has the Lady Lions doubled up 50-25. We're inside the final 30 seconds of the final quarter. Ball thrown in on the wing, finds Peyton Cruz, although she has the ball poked away, somehow able to come back up with it and reset in between the circles. You wonder if Lyons might play for the last shot of the quarter here. Drive to the outside, three-pointer on the way, that's off the mark, and the rebound pulled in by a Lady Trojan. That is Brielle Potacek. Now Southeast of Saline wanting to take the last shot. Time down to 8, now down to 7, kick it out, three-pointer on the way, yes sir! Sarah Feldman gonna get in on the fun. It's a triple for the junior. And with that, the Lady Trojans will take a 53-25 lead into the fourth and final frame. We'll step away, but when we come back, it's the fourth quarter of Lady Trojan basketball, and you're listening to exclusive coverage of Southeast of Saline Hoops right here on KINA, presented by our friends at Salina Pain Clinic.
score 17.
I didn't count that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, 2, 5, 6, 8.
Yeah, I got 3. Okay.
Game on your phone with the Alaska radio app. By Next Step Wireless.
Back here on the campus of Sterling High School, Tyler Henry alongside Tyler Smith. Southeast of Saline up big, 53-25. And the Lady Trojans looking to put the finishing touches on a big-time win as they will dump this off underneath. Now back to the short corner, stepping in for a baseline jumper. That's off the mark, and the rebound is pulled in by Lyons. But, boy, the way Southeast is going to come away with this one is travel will give it back to them. You like the momentum that they're going to carry into tomorrow's semifinal matchup with the hosts.
Yeah, and here's the thing with the fourth quarter in a game that you're up 25, 26, counting with my fingers right now. You want to finish strong, right? And you want to finish strong. You want to limit your turnovers offensively. You want to play really strong defensively. Of course, it's cliche. It's what you always want to do. It's extremely important. You played so well through 3 quarters of basketball.
Southeast continuing to work the ball around, looking for the open shooter. Here's a teardrop runner that falls through, and there it is. The first bucket of the night for Maddie Harris, and a chance to complete the 3-point play.
And Maddie Harris becomes the 10th Trojan to score tonight, and that's huge. Again, just spreading the wealth, getting everybody involved. Great job from Maddie Harris.
They have done such a good job. Again, everybody has gotten in on the fun. We've even seen the first bucket of the season for Carly Zerflew, and some unlikely suspects helping to win the day and carry the Trojans through this, as the free throw is good for Harris. And 3 points for her, and that's the other thing. It hasn't been anybody with a token free throw. With that make, everybody who scored has got 3 or more tonight.
And again, that's what we've seen Southeast be the most successful. It's like, who do you start scouting? Who do you take away? You start taking away somebody else is going to leak free, and that's what's so much fun about this team.
They will gamble for a steal here. That allows Belote to drive the inside. And now a shot's taken off the underneath side there. No good. Southeast pulls down the rebound and brings the ball back up the floor. Thought about a transition jumper. They'll turn that down. And, yep, that's going to be a travel called there on Carly Zerflew. Wanted the 3-pointer, and I think decided it was the wrong shot, rightfully so, just a little bit too late after she left her feet.
Well, you saw the maturity difference between a freshman and a senior right there. Maddie Harris had a 3-point opportunity. She decided to pass it up to Zerflew. Zerflew's like, I'm taking this thing. But that's something you'll learn, in time and in experience. Like, we're not going to take that shot. We don't need that 3-pointer at this point of the game.
Almost a good look on the other end. Southeast still ripping away rebounds, and that's another thing. They played aggressive both on the glass and underneath the rim. Here's a nifty behind-the-back dribble. As working the ball back up the floor here is Maddie Harris. It's going to be poked away, but it does come back down to Zerflew. Zerflew steps in, pump fakes, and this will roll along the baseline. Southeast, boy, playing with fire right now just a little bit. Zerflew going to get tripped, and that will prompt the whistle and the foul.
Yeah, Zerflew sees an inch of space that she's taking. You saw her right there just explode to the bucket, get fouled by Kiara Davis, but she's got a quick first step, really good fast twitch from Zerflew.
This has been a Southeast of Saline masterclass, and it continues with a bucket underneath. It's laid in there. Off the feed, Eliana Smith getting in on the fun. The 11th Lady Trojan to score.
You saw Elia, 5'10", sophomore, come down. I mean, there's nobody tall enough. She puts her arms up in the air. Great wingspan, great catch, great finish.
3-ball flies on the outside. That'll be knocked out of bounds by Southeast of Saline, but the other thing that you mentioned earlier in this game, when a player like Eliana Smith or Emma Zerflew or Carly Zerflew gets a big bucket like that, you just love seeing the bench react the way that they do. This team fires each other up, and you gotta love that.
Yeah, Tyler, we watch those sports. You can always tell a culture of a team by when something like that happens, and you just saw the bench explode. You saw Maddie Harris with a huge smile after she got that assist. She knew exactly where she was going with the basketball as soon as she saw Eliana on that high post.
Ball dumped off underneath, shot on the way, no good. And let me tell you, that's a culture that has had to be built here brick by brick, year after year, by class after class of players. It was not always like this in the world of Southeast of Saline Lady Trojan hoops, but they have built it into this, and it is a fast, fun, frantic style of basketball. It doesn't matter if you see the floor for 30 minutes a night or if you see the floor for 3. Everybody is excited, energized, and a part of something bigger. And it's been very fun to see them build this over the years.
Yeah, it has been. There's been years that you come into this tournament and you're just hoping to get a win. You don't have the matchups. A lot of times Southeast came into this thing as the 8 seed. Now that
the tides have turned, and it's a lot of fun watching it.
Lyons tries to save it, but they will save it to a Lady Trojan. We have got all sorts of new subs getting in here. Ashley Welchel is in the ball game. She'll give it up. Three-pointer flies. That's off the mark, and the rebound is hauled in here. Back the other way, and now a 3-on-1 for Lyons. They will stop and fire it off underneath. That's a good feed and a good find. Sierra Belote with another bucket here.
Yeah, Belote's starting to come alive in the second half. We've seen some strong finishes from the sophomore.
7 points for Belote as we're inside the final 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Southeast of Saline going to get turned over once again. The ball poked away here. Fighting down the stretch, tooth and nail for everything as Carly Zerflew got in and poked the ball away.
And so here's what you're seeing right now. You're really young on the floor right now, sophomores and freshmen. But here's where you kind of establish your leadership. You try to figure out who's going to get the basketball, who's going to manage those possessions, and not just let this turn into a whirly-girly type game.
Lyons, another unforced turnover, and they will now make a 4-for-4 swap as Grace Williams checks into the ball game here. Peyton Cruz returns to the floor. Maya Fierro will also return to the floor. And Liliana Miranda is checked back in. The only player that stays out there, no surprise here, is Kiera Davis. She seems to be the heart and soul of this team.
Yeah, she really does. That's what you always need. You need that strong leadership sometimes with these younger players to kind of just keep everything together.
Great ball movement here. Charlotte Knopf is checked into the game for Southeast of Saline and has got some good size. Wonder if, I mean, again, only a sophomore, but standing in at 6'1", you get the feeling if they can develop her, she could be a huge piece for this team down the stretch for a team that is a little lacking in size.
Yeah, great length from her, from Knopf and Smith.
5-second call, though. Southeast couldn't get the ball inbounds. Clock continues to run here as we're inside the final 2 minutes, and boy, it goes by quick.
Yeah, it really does. You get that running clock, and all of a sudden it just rolls.
Southeast has rolled tonight. Again, they lead at 58-27, looking to put the finishing touches on a win over Lyons. As a rebound going to be taken in here. Southeast of Saline pulls it in off the miss there for Belote. And here come the Lady Trojans back up the floor for what could be one of their final few possessions of the night. They will kick this back on the outside. A long two flies. That's off the mark for Welchel. And it's out of bounds, but Southeast will keep it.
Okay, now here's where you're going to see some fun. We love baseline inbounds plays. Let's see what happens right here. You got two bigs, and you're going to get to the outside.
Zerflew, the inbounder, throws the ball into the short corner. It'll be picked up here. Again, Southeast of Saline looking to put the cherry on top as they get it back off to Welchel. Try to dump it off underneath. Whistle and a foul. It's just the second, I believe, on Lyons here in the quarter. And that clock continues to run, and Southeast with a chance to draw up yet another gadget play here. Would love to see Charlotte Knopf get involved here. Looked good in her first touch. Instead, they'll kick this out and swing it back around as it finds Eliana Smith. She's got it poked away. Now Lyons back out on the run. They've got a 4-on-2. Ball comes out, three-pointer flies. Off the back iron, no good. Rebound tipped away. Southeast of Saline has it. And they will put the car in. Well, we're going to put the car in neutral, but left the keys out of the ignition, and it's going to be taken the other way. A bump, a whistle, and a shooting foul is going to be called. I believe this is going to take us down to the final buzzer. So we're going to wave off the free throws here. Yep, we are going to wave off the free throws. So the foul counts, no free throws, that'll do it. And Southeast of Saline opens the Sterling Tournament in style. They get the win over Lyons, 58-27. We'll step away, but when we come back, we'll wrap things up here on the post-game show brought to you by Commercial Tire Center. That is next here on KINA. Welcome back in one final time here on the campus of Sterling High School. Tyler Henry alongside Tyler Smith as we get set to put the finishing touches on this here on our Commercial Tire Center post-game show. Southeast of Saline gets the win on the girls' side to open up Sterling tournament play, 58-27. The win over the Lady Lions of Lyons. They advance to the semifinals, and they will take on the hosts in Sterling, who held on for dear life to defeat Hugoton 43-40. On the other side of the winners bracket, it'll be Scott City, who knocked off Kingman 60-37, and Smoky Valley, who defeated Hutch Trinity 44-26. Time now for us to take a look at our offensive stats, brought to you by Citizens State Bank in Gypsum. And Tyler Smith, before we dig too far into this, it was a masterclass for Southeast of Saline. When all said and done, they have 11 different players in the scoring column. We saw a scoring debut, and everybody chipped in at least 2 points here tonight.
Yeah, it's exactly, what you hope for when you're coming into a situation like this. And you love to see it when your best scores aren't your top scores early on, right? Because that means they're distributing the ball. It means the defense has no idea what's going on, and we just saw Sutton Douglas feast, and we saw a great job that the wealth got spread the entire night. Like you said, 11 scores, just a great offensive output from Southeast of Saline.
Well, let's go ahead and break them down. Brielle Potachik finishes with 6 points tonight, 8 for Addison Rohr, 12 for Lexi Jacobson. She ends up leading all scorers when all is said and done. 3 points tonight out of Maddie Harris, 6 for Abigail Pearson. That rounds out your scorers, but the reserves were really where Southeast shone the brightest tonight. 10 points out of Sutton Douglas, and all of those came back in the first quarter. She really came out and gave Southeast of Saline a big spark, and she was far from the only one. Sarah Feldman gets her first bucket of her varsity career, a big three-pointer, finishes with 3 points. 3 points for Carly Zerflu in this game. Zerflu the one with the debut. Feldman with a big three-pointer. Apologies for the mix-up there. And then rounding out scorers tonight for Southeast of Saline, 5 points out of Reagan Duran and 2 for Eliana Smith. On the other side, it was a 7-point performance out of the Lyons leading scorer in Kiera Davis. She was assisted 2 points for Yuretsi Pena, 3 points for Maya Fierro and for Diana Gonzalez. 2 points in this game for Peyton Cruz, 7 for Sierra Belote, and a lone 3 for Liliana Miranda. Before we wrap things up, we need to hand out the Vernon Jewelers Gem of the Game. And Tyler Smith, I think you and I both agree. You score 10 points in the first quarter of a game, that's going to be enough to help earn you that title. Without
a doubt. And Sutton did such a great job of setting the pace, didn't she? She finished so many strong buckets. She was great from the free throw line in the first quarter. She did so many things. And again, we saw that Lions defense had to adjust, had to switch, and that opened up the floor for so many other players. 23 bench points for Southeast Saline. We talk about if you want to look at this team and you want to talk about their weaknesses, maybe we can't call them weaknesses, let's just call them question marks. And one of the question marks was the bench play, and you see 23 points from the bench. That's exactly what you need, when you're trying to get players in and you're trying to get legs fresh and keep them fresh and keep everybody ready. Just a great start from Sutton Douglas and the entire Lady Trojans team.
So for Southeast of Saline here on the women's side, again, the 1 seed knocks off the 8. They move on to play Sterling tomorrow. That game will take place over at the secondary gym at Sterling College. Tip-off is set for 4:30, and that'll be part of a doubleheader for you here on KINA as the Southeast of Saline boys team rolled to a victory over Lyons, 54-26. They move on to play the winner of the final game here on the opening day, still in progress, between Sterling and Smoky Valley, but either way, that game will be played at Sterling College tomorrow, and that one will start at 7:30 p.m. But that'll just about wrap it up for us. One final time for Tyler Henry, for Tyler Smith, for Big Sam Pretty, producing and engineering back in studio control. The Southeast of Saline Lady Trojans roll to a win. They get it 58-27, and you caught coverage of this one right here on the Salina Post and on the radio on KINA.